Good afternoon.
Good
Hi,
afternoon.
good afternoon. Hello,
Ma'am.
Rama ma'am. Hi, Chinmay.
Hi.
Hi, hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome. Just looking whether Krishna has joined actually.
Okay. I thought of checking our audio, video, and everything.
Please, actually. No, we were all here. We were just waiting.
Good
You can
afternoon.
check. Good afternoon, Shantnu ji. Actually, you're all audible. Chinmay, yes, you can do your test round now.
Okay. No, am I audible?
Very much clear.
Yeah.
Video is pakka. How about
Great.
Asha?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Aisha, there is little less light on your face.
Okay. I'll just put on
I
the
think
You
light.
maybe
just turn around towards the light.
Okay, okay. I will. हाँ, light डाल दे.
Yeah, voice is very clear.
हाँ.
Just a little.
This is better.
This is better.
Yeah, this is.
This is even better, I think.
Good afternoon to all of you.
Yes. Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Tiwari ji. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome. Your voice is very clear. Video is clear. Shantanu ji, yours? Muted. You're muted. Can we do your voice check once?
Yeah.
Very clear. No, once again, voice.
Hello. It's okay, ma'am?
A slight echo I could see. I could see echo. Just a second. Yeah. Maybe because your video is very clear. Can we try the audio now?
Is it okay now?
Yeah, audio is better. Maybe as we move on, we'll see if there is any echo we are getting actually.
Hello, Chinmay madam. Hello, AB sir. Hello, Asha ji.
Hello. I was thanking Rama ma'am for
Hello.
bringing all of us together. It's been a
Yes.
really long time.
I must thank you all for joining on
No,
a
it's
Sunday.
our honor.
On a Sunday, food is a very hot topic in the country now, especially after the last few months. Whoever is sitting on social media, they could feel the intense heat, and so more conversations are needed. Very frequent conversations are needed, and including all stakeholders. And I think that's what I've asked Krishna, just to take forward all the conversations with the help of other food consultants uh, across the country. Shantanu ji, they have all been kind of volunteering. We need volunteers to do all these programs. So all the food consultants, I'm just bringing them under one banner, food and agri products together, and more and more conversations. Even some of this collaborative conversations with industry associations, chambers of commerce, because there's a different mandate that chambers of commerce are also getting to drive conversations on standard certifications and regulations, because they all have foreign trade committees, and then they need to do all this. So we need to maybe assemble sometime later and then kind of work on
Yes.
something. We will do it, and I must thank you all for the support. Hi, Krishna.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi,
Yes.
hi, Krishna.
Voice is
Hello.
very clear.
Hi.
Voice is clear? It's
Your
fine?
voice is clear, and just the video. Yeah, video is a little blurred, Krishna. Maybe it's because of the signals.
Blurred?
Yeah, little blurred actually. That's what I could see
Just
from.
a minute.
Yeah.
1 second.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please. The signals case. Infrastructure is a big challenge. Internet infrastructure everywhere. And congratulations.
Is it better now?
Yes. Yeah. Can I know only your audio I can see? Just a second. Oh yeah. Yes, this is better, Krishna, definitely. So taking forward, I was just doing my little chat with all of them. I'm actually down with flu last 1 week, 5-6 days, very bad throat, feeling a little better since yesterday. So Krishna and Shantanu, they were managing all these things. So they have completely removed the load from my shoulders this time. Take it forward, Krishna, and maybe we'll just wait for all others to join. I was just chatting with them, checking the video
Yeah.
and the audio of all the speakers.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes.
Oh, hello, Uttara. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Thank you for joining.
I think till then, participants can introduce themselves in the chat box. We will have.
I will. Yeah, we can. We can ask. Actually, they all can do it. Anyhow, the session is also made live. It's just started, and once it's all there, because you even may watch outside this meeting room also. I'm just looking into the
Okay.
participants. Yeah, Krishna. So please take it
Can we
forward.
begin?
Oh, yeah. Well, just
Okay.
start.
Yeah.
We can start, Krishna.
Good afternoon to all our distinguished speakers, industries, regulators, conformity assessment professionals, food business operators, academicians, and participants for joining us here today from across the globe. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this special World Food Safety Day 2026 session organized by Consultants Consortium of Chennai. So let me take some while introducing Consultants Consortium of Chennai. CCC, as it is known to all of us, is a premier professional association bringing together consultants, industry leaders, regulators, um, academicians, and experts from diverse sectors committed to advancing excellence in quality, food safety, sustainability, regulatory compliance, conformity assessment, and organizational performance. For about last 6 years, CCC has served as a vibrant platform for professional networking, knowledge exchange, capacity building, and dissemination of best practices. Through its conferences and workshops and technical seminars, Consortium has played a significant role in bringing together everyone on one platform and bridging the gap between the industry, government, academia, and the conformity assessment ecosystem. Beyond professional development, CCC also aspires to be a respected thought leader and trusted advisory platform contributing to the evolution of India's quality infrastructure. Through active engagement with policymakers, regulators, accreditation bodies, industry associations, and technical experts, CCC seeks to participate in discussions that shape national regulations, standards, conformity assessment, practices, and governance frameworks that support economic growth. CCC envisions becoming the preferred forum for dialogue on emerging regulatory and policy matters affecting quality, safety, sustainability, trade, and conformity assessment. By leveraging the collective expertise of its members, the consortium aims to provide informed perspectives and practical recommendations that contribute to the strengthening of India's regulatory and quality ecosystem. For professionals and organizations entering India's conformity assessment framework, including laboratories, inspection bodies, certification bodies, and validation and verification bodies, CCC serves as a valuable platform for understanding regulatory expectations, industry requirements, obligatory requirements, international best practices, and sector specific challenges. It offers opportunities to learn from experienced practitioners, exchange knowledge, and build professional networks that support growth and competence. Whether you're a quality professional, auditor, inspector, laboratory expert, regulator, certification professional, consultant, researcher, entrepreneur, or an industry leader, CCC provides a unique platform to learn, collaborate, contribute, and grow. Before we proceed, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Consultants Consortium of Chennai for providing me with the opportunity to host this special World Food Safety Day session. So, my name is Krishna Datta, and I'm a food safety quality assurance inspection person. having spent a lot of time in the certification bodies, implementing systems, managing the entire accreditation process, and strategizing the business growth. Over the years, I had the privilege of working with the industry, regulators, laboratory certification and inspection systems. And I have also been invited to various forums like Indian Dairy Association, NACE, and technical sessions during the G20 presidency in 2023. So it's my pleasure to serve you as your host today as we come together to celebrate World Food Safety Day 2026 and explore how we can collectively move from burden to solution, safe food everywhere. So, for many years, this food safety has often been viewed as a regulatory obligation, a compliance requirement, and sometimes even a cost burden for businesses. However, today's reality tells a very different story. Food safety is definitely not a burden, it's a solution. This solution is for protecting public health, building consumer trust, facilitating international trade, reducing food loss and waste, and strengthening supply chains, thereby creating sustainable food systems that can support the growing global population. The need for this shift in perspective has perhaps never been greater than today. Over the last few years, we've witnessed a growing number of food safety challenges, which have emerged from the climate change, environmental pressures, geopolitical disruptions, increasingly complex supply chains, food fraud, and rapidly evolving customer and consumer expectations. For example, extreme weather events across several regions have affected crop quality and increased risks associated with mycotoxins, pesticide management, and water quality. At the same time, global food recalls linked to contaminated incidents continue to demonstrate how a single issue in our part of the supply chain can have consequences across multiple countries within days. Adding another dimension to these challenges is the rapid flow of information. Today, consumer perceptions about food safety can be shaped within hours through social media, often faster than the scientific evidence or regulatory communications can reach the public. Yet, alongside these challenges, we also have unprecedented opportunities. The advancement in digital traceability, laboratory technologies, risk based inspections, data analytics, and supply chain transparency are enabling businesses and regulators to move from reactive responses to proactive prevention. Today's session has therefore been designed to explore not only the challenges facing the food sector, but more importantly, the solutions that can help us achieve safe food everywhere. In the next few minutes, our distinguished speakers will share their perspectives on costs of unsafe food on different areas of our existence, emerging global food safety challenges and practical solutions, traceability, industry preparedness for regulatory landscapes, industrial evolution to meet the requirements, international trade compliances, growing cross border food safety expectations, and finally, how consumer trust, sustainability, and responsible marketplace practices are shaping the future of food safety. What makes today's discussion particularly important is that no single stakeholder can actually achieve food safety alone. Regulators establish the framework, industry implements the controls, laboratories generate reliable data, inspection and certification bodies provide confidence. Accreditation ensures competence and credibility. And above all, the consumers. They reinforce the system through informed choices and responsible practices. Only when all these elements work together can we truly move from burden to solution. As we begin this conversation, I encourage everyone to think beyond compliance and consider food safety as a strategic enabler of trust, sustainability, trade, and public health. Because ultimately, safe food everywhere is not just an aspiration, it is a shared responsibility and a collective commitment. With that, I warmly welcome all of you to this World Food Safety Day 2026 session, and look forward to an engaging and insightful discussion. Let's explore how we can collectively move from burden to solution and make safe food everywhere a reality. When safe food fails, okay, the food safety has failed. The cost extends beyond the food chain. It extends to families, businesses, healthcare systems, and national economies. To help us understand this hidden burden, it is my pleasure to invite Ms. Subhaprada Nishtala to share her insights on the human, economic, and global impact of unsafe food. Ms. Subhaprada Nishtala is a senior food safety and regulatory leader with over 26 years of strategic and operational experience across the food processing industry, spanning multinational and large scale export organizations. She's a food technologist from CFTRI, Mysore, and she brings deep expertise in quality systems, regulatory compliance, sustainable manufacturing practices, and commercialization of science driven innovations. Her career covers a broad spectrum of functions, including factory quality operations, global standard audits, training delivery, and regulatory advisory, strengthening safety and compliance frameworks across diverse food categories. She is the founder of Food Adroit, a consultancy advancing food safety, regulatory governance, and capacity building in the Indian food ecosystem. She leads academic programs at the International Training Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition, ITCFSAN, a premier training institution established by India's regulatory authorities, FSSAI and EIC. She is an active executive member of the Association of Food Scientists and Technologists of India, having served as the past president of AFSTI Mumbai. She represents AFSTI on a high level MOFPI committee chaired by the Honorable Ministers tasked with shaping national strategy to counter misleading and negative perceptions of processed foods. Ms. Nishtala is also a board member of the listed food ingredients company, contributing to strategic direction, governance, and innovation led growth. In academia, she is a visiting faculty to several food science institutes and serves on board of studies at SNDT University, Symbiosis Institute of Health Sciences, and Nutraceuticals Department of Guru Nanak Khalsa College, supporting curriculum design aligned to emerging technologies and global regulatory needs. Her contributions to the field have been recognized through multiple awards, including the FSSAI AFSTI Food Safety Professional of the Year 2019. She is currently pursuing her doctoral research at ICT Mumbai, focusing on advancing science based future ready solutions in food safety and regulatory policy. So join me as we welcome Shubhaprada Nishtala.
Thank you, Krishna.
Shubha, all yours.
Thank you very much for that very warm welcome and I think fabulous context setting. I will just share my screen if I can have that here.
You have the access? Access is
Yes,
given.
I have this access, yes. If you can just confirm that it is visible in slideshow mode.
Yes.
All right. So World Food Safety Day, and as somebody who's been part of the food ecosystem and the food safety ecosystem specifically for over 30 days, when Krishna reached out and said, I want you to talk not about food safety, but the impact of unsafe food. What is the cost of unsafe food? It really excited me. And I think before we go into the impact of food, I just want to pause and talk about food. For us in our culture, we say Anna Brahma Raso Vishnu Bhokta Devo Maheshwara. We say food is the Brahman, the Brahma. It is the creator. It is the it signifies wholeness. And food का जो रस है वो विष्णु की तरह है. It sustains us. Vishnu is the preserver. It is food that sustains us, that preserves us. And we in our ancient wisdom believe that the bhokta, the consumer, is equivalent to Mahadev. This is the culture from which we come. And while on World Food Safety Day, and this year's World Food Safety Day theme is actually wonderful, where we focus on the solutions rather than the burden. So it's very interesting to be asked to come and speak on a broader question of what is the true cost of unsafe food to a nation, and specifically to our nation. How can it impact? What are the human, economic, social, and strategic implications of Viksit Bharat? अभी टॉपिक तो इतना बड़ा दे दिया, but she's given me 15 minutes, so I shall try and do justice in the time given. Food has always been the foundation of civilization. Be it our own scriptures, when you look at the Mahabharata, or even before the Mahabharata, when you look at the Ramayana, even before the Ramayana, when you look at the Samudra Manthan, poison coming out, being consumed by Mahadev, to the Ramayana, where Shabri ke Ber symbolize the trust that comes through food, to the Mahabharata, where you have the numerous instances of Bhima being poisoned by Duryodhana with the kheer, or the Akshay Patra, or you look at the Western civilization and you look at Alexander the Great, and the very many stories there are of how his success was also largely impacted by the fact that he first provided for his family, that his scouts would first look for what food is available before deciding whether or not to attack a particular region. So food has always been more about nourishment. It creates prosperity. It develops human potential. The ancient spice routes, initial trade started for food. Even today, while we trade a lot of things, it is food that the uh, highest impact is on. The current geopolitical situation where we are seeing imports impacted, it is the food that raises the largest concern, be it food in itself or implements from food like fertilizer. Food underpins resilience. And today I'd like to look at food and the impact of food through four lenses. The first, the economic lens. The second, the human capital lens. The third, the social capital lens. And finally, the strategic capital lens. When we look at the economic capital lens, India is very much an agri-based economy. Food remains one of the largest economic activities in India, and that is our strength. We are self-sufficient in many ways, and we are resilient in many ways to external pressures because we grow a good portion of our food. Agriculture, food contributes 16 to 18% of GDP, and almost 45% of our population is linked to it, including all of us. It's the largest manufacturing sector at MSME, certainly small and medium scale. And our exports exceed $50 billion annually. I understand it's the third or fourth highest in terms of the value of export. And when food systems function efficiently, they are generating employment, income, manufacturing growth, trade, and economic prosperity. So that's the economic capital of food in our country, which directly impacts the quality of life for every citizen. Then if we look at the human capital impact, it begins long before a person enters the workforce. It begins with safe and nutritious food at childhood, from the very first 100 days of birth. Nutrition Access to safe food influences physical growth, it influences cognitive development, it includes educational attainment, it includes workforce productivity. And this is something which we as a country have recognized and built it into our systems to help bring in more people towards literacy. Our PM Poshan Abhiyans, the midday meal schemes as they were, are centered around the fact that make food available at places of learning so that it becomes an enabler for the next generation, and it helps growth of human capital through food. Looking at the third lens, which is perhaps the oldest social technology, uh, meetings and coming together always happened over food. People bonded over food. When we look at any diplomacy, we are hosting a foreign dignitary, our dignitaries are being hosted abroad. The selection of the menu becomes one of the strongest implements of advocacy and diplomacy. It creates trust, it creates inclusion, it creates a sense of cultural identity, and many through generations, many of our welfare schemes have been around food, identifying that this is the one unifying factor, which is the lowest hanging fruit. It may be difficult to bond with somebody over their music, it may be difficult to bond with somebody over their sports, but as a Mumbaikar, when I see somebody eating a vada pav, it just makes me feel comfortable. I know, hey, this is my community. The social capital of food. And finally, the strategic capital of food. Food security has become a significant geopolitical issue angle. Today, we discuss food security alongside energy security, alongside water supply chain security. Not just today, I think through ages, food shortages have influenced migration, they have led to political instability, they have led to conflict through history. And countries are recognizing that resilient food systems are a strategic national asset. In such a scenario where societies recognize the need for food to prosper, unsafe food threatens all food. Food that is unsafe is not food. I think any of us who have been in the food safety ecosystem know this saying so very well. Unsafe food is not food. When you look at the impact, the cost of unsafe food, it is a barrier to prosperity, it is a barrier to Viksit Bharat. WHO's latest estimates indicate that unsafe food remains one of the world's largest preventable public health challenges. Every year, 866 million people fall ill from contaminated food. 1.5 million people die of contaminated food. More than 310 billion US dollars is lost globally in productivity, in medical expenses due to unsafe food. So very certainly unsafe food is not an industry concern. It's not just a health concern. It is a national developmental concern. Let's look at this again from the four lenses that we looked at. Human capital. All of us are well aware of the striking paradox of the double burden that we have, and the National Food Health Survey of National Family Health Survey has just brought out those numbers even more starkly. While almost 20% of adults are underweight, 29% are overweight. 19.4% have elevated blood sugar. We are the diabetes capital of the world. India is simultaneously facing both undernutrition and diet-related diseases. many of the NCDs, the non-communicable diseases, are a direct outcome of the chemical hazards present in food. What we eat is our decision. I could choose to have a high fat, high sugar diet, and that's a personal decision. But the food that I choose, if it is unsafe because it has pesticides, which lead to endocrine disruptions, if the food has PFAS, which is known carcinogen, if the food has mycotoxins, which is affecting my liver, leading to fatty liver conditions, affecting again my hormones, I think that is a huge burden that needs to be looked at. The biological hazards, though well understood, continue to lead to a lot of communicable diseases. Chemical hazards, much poorer in our understanding, much poorer control, and I'm sure the speakers after me will speak about solutions that they exist and the concerns that need to be mitigated from chemical hazards. But the lens of human capital is significantly affected by unsafe food. It influences learning outcome, it influences cognitive development, it influences, bottom line, our workforce productivity and our healthcare expenditures. WHO estimates that children under 5 nearly have 30% of the global health burden because of the unsafe food that they have consumed. And when we speak of the economic capital, every sick day leads to reduced absenteeism, leads to reduced productivity, leads to reduced income, leads to reduced access to better food, leads to medical expenditure. There is the concept of economic burden of unsafe food, where let's say a foodborne outbreak affects in a country 10,000 workers. The treatment costs may be 5 crores. The lost wages could be maybe 15 crores. Factory downtime could be 10 crores. Recall costs may be 20 crores. The lack of access of better nutrition to the families who have lost wages could be another 50 crores. The sum total of all of these leads to the calculation of the economic burden. And estimates say that this economic burden could be around 310 billion US dollars. Moving to the social capital, food has always signified trust. The concept of annadan just gives you the image of piousness, gives you the image of goodness. But when you think of somebody poisoning food, it's all things bad. That social capital, that trust on food, exists because of the belief, and this is, as per our constitution, a fundamental right that we have access to safe food. Consumers cannot independently verify every food for contaminants, pathogens, adulterants. We rely on our regulators, we rely on our labs, on our institutions, on our industry. And any societal protection program failure, we have 800 million people who are part of the PM Poshan scheme and various other food security blankets. When a food safety incident occurs, the damage extends beyond the illness. There is loss in institutional trust. There is loss in brand reputation. There is loss in consumer confidence. When we speak of brand reputation, if you pick up any of the large food recalls that you may have seen over the last 2-3 decades, be it the hot meal scandal, be it the recall of Coke cans in Belgium in around 2001, 2002, more than the cost of the actual recall of the product, closer to home, the Nestle Maggie incident, the cost of the loss of trust in brand, the brand's valuation, not just for that brand. When the Maggie incident occurred for a period of months, and that was not even a real food, unsafe food. Just that loss of trust, the entire alleys of yellow noodles that we used to see in supermarkets, they just disappeared for a period of months. That is the cost of the social capital cost of unsafe food. And finally, the strategic capital. It's perhaps the least discussed consequence, but food security is increasingly intertwined not just with geopolitics, but with the survival of nations. Um, Climate change is affecting food safety, trade restrictions come into place because of food safety, supply chain disruptions happen when there are issues. The recent ETO case, or even more recent, Japan preventing or stopping Indian mangoes from being imported into Japan. All of these lead to significant losses, lead to significant erosion of trust. Just the ETO issue was expected to bring in a 45% increase in border inspections for all food out of India. So the total impact that we see of unsafe food goes way above the cost of either recalling the batch or the cost of medical help for those affected. It needs to be looked at through all of these four lenses: the economic capital, the human capital, the social capital, and the strategic capital. I just like to end by saying that unsafe food harms livelihoods, it weakens economies, and no one should get sick from food. It is preventable today, it has always been preventable, and it is science which can build ecosystems which ensure safe food and build unshakable public trust. And that is what we, as those of us in the food industry, must commit to today as part of World Food Safety Day 2026. So with that, I thank you and hand it back to Krishna. I've been just over 1 minute over time, Krishna. Please excuse me for that.
Thank you so much, Shubha. It has been amazing to hear this, okay, and how you could actually bring the entire thing together in just 15 minutes. That's an ability that you really have. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Krishna.
And just stay with us because we may have questions for you also. Okay. So we just heard how the consequences of unsafe food can be profound, impacting public health, businesses, trade, and economies. But if there is one lesson we can take away, it is that every food safety crisis begins as an unmanaged risk. This is exactly what Shubha said, that nothing is like, nothing is there that cannot be managed. It can be. Everything is preventable. So the real opportunity lies not in responding to the crisis, but in identifying and addressing the risks before they escalate. To help us understand how these organizations can move from reaction to prevention, it is my pleasure to invite next Mr. Shantanu Gupta. Mr. Shantanu is a chemical engineer and has a huge passion for research and trainings. He's a partner in Green Food Consultancy, a partnership firm which provides scientific and technical consultation to the food industry. He's a national resource person for FOSTAC, FSSAI. He has about 31 years experience in the food industry in different domains like quality, safety, and policies provided for many organizations such as Sri Ram Institute of Industrial Research, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, Department of Women and Child Development, Government of Orissa, World Health Organization, Department for International Development, India, and also for integrating child development scheme uh, opportunities. So, Shantanu brings with him a lot of experience. Welcome, Shantanu. Over to you. We are looking forward to hearing about the risks across the supply chain and what we can do to prevent them before they really become a bigger concern for all of us. Shantanu, are you there?
To unmute myself. Yeah, I missed to unmute myself. Thank you, Krishna ji, and thanks to the CCC Consultant Consortium of Chennai, Rama Madam. And I think we should go for a bigger picture and should have these kind of sessions on regular basis. This is what I wish that could have got better impact. And the very extensive introduction. Thanks for that. I would like to share my screen also so that it could be easy for me and the participants to visualize how the process of the session will go on. So here it is. Hope it is visible, right?
Yes, full screen. Can we see the full screen?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's visible. Yeah, this is perfect.
Thank you. So as on this particular day, the topic that is being my topic or the topic on which I have to speak about is that two components are there: the risk factor across the supply chain and how the consumer is to deal with. So what I feel, we all are consumer because everyone is dealing with the food and everyone has some vendor. So how we have to proceed further so that it could some kind of result oriented. AFSK Delhi chapter has also done one session on this particular day, and in that session, CEO of FSSA is there, ex-CEO of FSSA, Mr. Subhaprada is there. So as per his word, the enforcement can't do actually much as compared to the awareness and the customer or the consumer could do. So in total, I will run the 13 slides. Okay, so this is a brief about myself. Basically, chemical engineer, work in diverse fields with Shriram Institute as a laboratory, work in the field also. I do farming for about 2 years, unsuccessful farming. Then as a business person, made a soya charge, again the failure. So I limited myself to the service sector and different domains, right? So getting back to the topic, it is about the food safety risk across the supply chain, from farm to fork, the I would say the supply chain and starting and the beginning and the consumer. So three actually words I will pick from this. First, the risk and the supply chain will be our subject, and how the risk the consumer could be managed to do that, right? And the second. So during my first tech sessions and other way also, we are also into setting up the industries also, right? So whenever any activity related to food is there, whether it is training or establishment of any organization, the one thing that I wish to communicate or I wish to convince that we all are consumer. So we have to design a system in such a way it is not like that I am providing the services. I am also the consumer. I am also aware that particular food is somehow or in any way, right? So I feel that as a consumer, or it's a universal for the human how to see the food. Maybe it's safety, quality, or health. Just not rely on the regulatory part, because we all are consumer and we have to consume the food till we will alive. Now, I will start with some my on ground experiences with the challenges I observed, okay, during my 31 years of experience in different dimensions, and whether it could be addressed or not, that I will leave up to you. Because for me, it is a very difficult to provide a solution. I tried a lot, but not done that much. So first of all, the very first slide that is that let us say grocery shop, my grocery shop or vendor. Okay, when I asked about the pest management during the first tech session, had I ever asked my grocery shop owner, "Yeah, what would you have done in your pest management?" So simple example I would like to share. That recently I buy a rice, and in the rice I found the solid waste of rat, and I show that shopkeeper. So he said, "No, no, I am doing that." So being a consumer, how many participants are there? Okay, I will request all of the participants to ask your vendor also, right? It will change or not, that is another thing. But the second thing, which I insist to the shopkeeper, whenever he gives X to someone else, I ask him, insist him to wash hands before providing me the grocery. This is the second thing I do. Second, and the third one is that regarding the gloves, I have seen so many pani puri walas. They are using gloves for their to serve the this food, and in restaurants also, in street shop owners also. So my only objective is that what why you are wearing the gloves? Is it required, or what is your purpose, right? So sometimes I got a response that it is just to feel good factor for a customer. They don't know actually what is the purpose of that gloves. Now, the person who is eating the food is also a customer. Who is providing the serving the food is also a consumer, the customer of the food. But until and unless I got up to that level, that it is not that I am just providing it, I will feel the solution will not be achieved. And in the last, for all of us, which we can we do that any item of food, because I say that you are all the consumers and you can have that much of understanding. If any vendor you see the items are imported in the direct sunlight, you can ask them what is the harm or whatever the precautions that fellow could do take. And regarding the use of artificial colors, and keep the purchase bills, how these bills and records will help them in case any sampling is there. So, but this particular slide, I am just want to say that we all are the consumers, and these few points I just pick up so that we can focus all around us. Next, now come to the ground realities, which I observed as a farmer in year 2021. What we see when the grains has to be dried. Okay, first of all, let us come to the very first line. That is about the use of pesticides. Okay, I'm well aware of pesticide, how much amount or quantity is to be utilized. But what I have observed, the real challenge is that the farmers, they will not go about what I am saying. They will do what is being asked by the particular shopkeeper and what their friend circle is going to do. Quantity or education or this kind of activities are least, I would say, concern from them. And I tried to change, but couldn't. So this is another challenge I faced. Second, post harvesting. After harvesting, what they have to do, dry the. I just speak specifically to grains also. Grains limited to grains also. Grains only. So what they do, they use highway to dry the harvest. And what is their procedure? It is actually 2-3 days process, depending upon the grain condition. It is being laid all over across the road. Okay, maybe the lack of infrastructure or the practices are going on. I never can go back again after 2021. And what is going to happen? Buses are there, auto rickshaws are there, every kind of activities that is going on highway could contribute its own kind of contamination to the food. Okay, so this is the one thing. Second is that their way of collecting the food, and again repeating the procedure on the next day. During that procedure, there is a wastage of food of approximately, I would say, 2 to 3% of wastage. So this is the second thing I feel I observed. Second, and thereafter, now after the farm, let us come to the mandi. And nowadays, you can see what is the condition of mandis. You can Google the pictures. The mandis are supposed to be highly organized. This is what I believe prior to moving the mandi. But what I saw, there's a heap of grains are there. We have to walk on them. We have to move away with our cars also, right? So how those person will be able to understand about the food safety which we are going to teach, how to handle this food? I feel it is the next to impossible. And this slide actually depicts the same thing. Before moving ahead, a picture. Like, let us say, if I have to teach something about the hygiene factor or the risk which could be associated with the food, I couldn't compare a person who is dwelling in a, I would say, the JJ colony or suburban areas. For them, there is no running water, not availability of proper storage or open vessels. And if that person comes to industry as a contract labor or in the any restaurant or dhaba, and he's maintaining that standard, some standards, for that fellow, the standards which he is maintaining is far much better as compared to what he is being what are being there at his home. Okay, in the area in which it is being he is being residing, that fellow will be residing. Now, it is quite possible that follow the standard which is being followed at the dhabas are not in line with that what is being expected by the regulations. Okay, so this is another area I feel that one person who is already into that standard, in living in some standard, for him that particular standard are the best. So teaching and about the food safety policy or food safety, hygiene and all these things, I think it is of just like a theater to that. And just to implement that, I just have take the help of Cloud AI, and this makes that PPT on that. That hygiene is a mirror. It's not a choice. What a person will see, he will follow the same thing. What it is to be, but which practice the fellow is, right? Maybe quite possible that through trainings we can do some kind of improvements or activities, but no. For that fellow, he will evaluate the risk according to his understanding, not as per the requirement of the system. And when I discuss one of these things, that how the food should not be put in the direct sunlight, one shopkeeper asked me, "Sir, what about the distributors who bring the food to us in open vans, in direct sunlight?" So from that idea, this slide comes to me that food from farm to fork is a just kind of relay kind of activity, right? How the baton of food I am providing to my successor, it depends how he will proceed. So this particular action is being mentioned, or I would say drafted in this particular slide, again through the help of Cloud AI, right from farm, how it is being treated, how the farmer is seeing that the food is being or the grains are being placed in the mandis, even FCI godowns are there. So everything is, I would say, it is just not the one person has who is the key person. It is the entire system. It will we have to take care of, and it is learning by practicing. So it is the supply chain. Next, it is again the same thing which I have discussed. It is a repetition. Now comes to the another part. This is the important slide. I discussed one of this factor with one company person. Okay, this kind of activities are going on. So what his applies that he said, if you ever notice a transporter carrying a packaged drinking water or soft drinks or any food products in direct sunlight, please let me know. This is usually a reason behind the such practices and identifying the helpers. So this is one thing. Now comes to this particular consumer aspect. This is, I feel, as a consumer, if we are aware of, or if we have to take the, I would say, responsibility, the credibility, right? Then we can have some kind of improvement in the system, because it is just not for that the person is not aware. It may be some other thing that we need to work it out. So until and unless there could be a right line of action, or I would say attack, the things will not be, we can't achieve what we want to, right? Just like that कि वो राम रावण का युद्ध हो रहा था, so it will keep on going until the नाभि पे attack नहीं होता. So we have to see what should be that point of attack, right? And these observations highlight an important reality. First is that, is it a result of negligence? Is it a gap in the infrastructure, logistics, or awareness? Or is it a kind of operational requirement or weak enforcement? So enforcement is like just like that, okay, who cares? So this is a kind of enforcement, I think, that is going on. So these are the insights, my insights into the root cause that drive the meaningful corrective actions. Another thing, beyond hygiene, when I go through the supply chain activities, like, right, I discussed with one of my friends, what about the transportation during the transportation of livestock, or simply I asked what about the halal, okay. So, and the series of activities which is being involved prior to slaughtering, he explained me everything. Now then this point comes to me, if in a meat chain, the animal, if the condition of journey is not as what is being expected, even in halal it is being defined how it is to be transported, then again there's a done supply chain, but in a different manner, which is not about hygiene. It is something that is to be taken care of, I would say, not in that industry. So it would be taken care of differently. So, but the thing, what I could understand, that some hormone release, or if some animal gets fractured, okay, so there kind of some pain, or there kind of some hormonal release or biochemistry that could impact the food. And in total, if I summarize it, so halal, I would say, not just limited to the cut, it is an entire process. So in the last, this is what I write. It is not limited to physical health, which a veterinary doctor, I would say, I understand he might be checking. It's also a mental soundness of the livestock, which is being disturbed during the transportation. So is it halal or haram? That is we have to see. And this is the in detail explanation of what is being, what kind of, I would say, hormonal release, or what kind of unsafe food, or what kind of contamination that could bring to the food. Now, risk. Usually in my sessions, or my approach toward any problem, is to understand the risks associated with that, rather than what is mentioned and what is to be there as per the book. So instead of bookish understanding, my prime requirement is that just to understand the risk. So ignore the risk until the incident happens. This is what I observed. We know risks are there. The recent example of is that of fire outbreak in Delhi, right? Everybody knows what could be there, but it is being avoided until the incident happened. Now all the activity, now all the bodies, regulatory bodies, all the concerned bodies are active and taking care of into a system. But as my system is related with the FOSTEC, there are so many things I mentioned, try to improve that. And in the last slide, what triggers me is one of the a few lines from राष्ट्र कवि राम दिनकर सिंह. समर शेष है नहीं पाप का भागी केवल व्याप, जो तटस्थ हैं समय लिखेगा उनका भी हिसाब, उनका भी अपराध. So what I predict that me, you and everyone is responsible for his or her credibility. So we are the same society, and I will say that, as Madam has said, it is a social capitalist that we have to take care of. Over to you, Madam. Nothing on the data.
Thank you so much, Shantanu. This was really nice. It was very beautiful with respect to, touching upon every area in the society which is having an impact on all of us today. Okay. Thanks a lot, Shantanu. So every challenge that we face today in the food industry, be it the climate change or the technological, regulatory, or societal concerns, they also represent somewhere they present an opportunity for innovation as well as improvement. So, if risk identification helps us avoid crisis, future readiness helps us build stronger, smarter, and more sustainable food systems. So, next speaker, Uttara Deshpande, she will share various initiatives that the organizations are these days adopting to transform the emerging challenges into opportunities for growth and excellence. Uttara is a founder and principal consultant of Ayame Consulting and a distinguished quality, food safety, and operations excellence leader with over 25 years of experience in the FMCG food and beverage industry. She has held senior leadership positions with leading organizations, and throughout her career, Uttara has been instrumental in building robust quality and food safety systems, driving supplier quality excellence, leading new product development initiatives, and implementing operational excellence programs that deliver significant cost saving and sustainability outcomes. Her expertise spans operational excellence, food safety management system, regulatory compliance, supply development, and risk management. She's a certified auditor for ISO 22000, FSSC 22000, and ISO 9001. She is a preventive control qualified individual. She is a senior assessor for CII Food Safety Awards and a TBM assessor. Uttara is widely recognized for her contributions to advancing food safety and quality excellence. She has also been honored as a distinguished leader in agri commodity and food science and a women in agri business leader. So join me as we welcome Uttara to this session. Uttara, all yours. Let's hear from you.
Thank you, Krishna, and thank you, Ms. Rama. I'll just share my screen.
Sure.
Is it visible? Is it
Yeah.
visible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today. As you know, the food safety has a traditionally been viewed as a quality assurance responsibility. However, the reality is that food safety begins long before products enter the manufacturing facility and extends well beyond production. So today, food safety is deeply connected to supply chain management, and every supplier, warehouse, transportation partner, distributor, retailer players, they play an important role in maintaining this food safety and quality. So we'll explore today how the organizations can move beyond simply managing risk and instead of transforming these food safety challenges, taking these challenges into opportunities for resilience, efficiencies, and competitive advantage. So why food safety needs a new perspective? So the food industry is undergoing the rapid transformation. As all of us know, the supply chain have become more global and complex. So consumer expectations for transparencies are increasing. Regulatory requirements continue to evolve nowadays. And the climate-related disruptions are becoming more frequent. At the same time, the social media amplifies food safety incidents instantly. Nowadays, it's going on. A localized issue can become a global reputational crisis within hours. Okay, so the organizations can no longer rely on traditional compliance-based approaches. They need proactive, predictive, and integrated food safety systems that align with business strategies. So food safety must be managed proactively across the entire supply chain. The food safety incidences, if it is not managed well, there's product recalls, brand damages, supply disruptions, financial losses, and a loss of consumer trust. These are the implications of that. So how this food safety is across the supply chain? So it starts from, actually, when we think about the food safety, we often focus on the manufacturing locations. However, hazards can emerge at any stage of supply chain. At the farm level, we may face biological contamination or chemical residual contaminations. Supplier may introduce risk through adulteration or inconsistent qualities. Then transportation failures can compromise temperature sensitive products. Breakdown at any point can affect the final product and ultimately the consumers. This is why the supply chain visibility and collaboration have become essential components of modern food safety management. So what are the key challenges facing food safety today? So let's look at some of the most significant challenges organizations are facing. The first is the supply chain complexity. Many companies now source ingredients from multiple countries, making oversight more difficult. Controls are very difficult. Secondly, food fraud remains a growing concern nowadays. Economic pressure can increase the temptation for adulteration or substitutions. Third is the climate change is impacting agricultural production, water quality, pest pressures. We also face geopolitical uncertainty, transportation disruptions, labor shortages, and cybersecurity threats. These factors create a dynamic risk environment and requires organizations to continuously adapt this. So how we can transform these challenges into opportunities? So while these challenges may seem overwhelming, they also create these opportunities. Organizations that strengthen supplier relationship often improve both food safety, performance, and supply continuity. Enhanced traceability systems not only support compliance, but build consumer trust. Regulatory requirements often drive operational improvements and process standardization. Digital technologies provide better visibility and faster decision-making. The most successful organizations view these challenges as catalysts for innovations and continuous improvement. So technology is playing a transformative role in the food safety management. Nowadays, its IoT devices can continuously monitor environmental conditions, such as temperature and humidity. Artificial intelligence can analyze large database and identify trends that human might miss, or it's difficult to manage for manually. Blockchain technologies can improve traceability by creating secure and transparent records throughout the supply chain. Digital audit platforms streamline compliance activities and provide valuable performance insights. This technology should not replace people, but rather empower them to make faster and better decisions. So building supply chain resilience, the resilience has become a critical capability. Organizations need to prepare for disruptions rather than simply react to them. Diversifying suppliers can reduce dependency on single source. Business continuity plans help organizations maintain operations during unexpected events. Real-time visibility allows companies to identify problems early and respond more effectively. And collaboration across the supply chain is essential because this resilience cannot be achieved in isolation. Food safety culture. Even the best system and technologies will fail without the right culture. A strong food safety culture starts with the leadership commitment. Employees need to understand not only what they must do, but what it matters for them. Organizations should encourage open communications, continuous learning, and accountability at every level. When food safety becomes part of everyday decision-making, organizations are better equipped to prevent incidents and maintain this consumer trust. So, how can organizations begin their journey? So it starts by assessing the current risk and identify gaps. Strengthen the supplier management process and build strategic partnerships. Invest in traceability and digital technologies where they can provide clear values. Focus on developing a strong food safety culture across organizations. Most importantly, it is treat food safety as a strategic business rather than a compliance requirement. The organizations that take these steps will be better positioned to navigate future challenges. Okay, so as we conclude, I would leave with you the 5 key messages. One is the food safety is a supply chain responsibility. It is not only quality responsibility. Second is the visibility and traceabilities are becoming essential business capabilities. Third is the technology can significantly improve risk management and decision making. Fourth is the resilience is now competitive advantage. And finally, a strong food safety culture remains the foundation of the long-term success. The organizations that will thrive in the future are those that transform uncertainty into resilience and challenges into opportunities. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Uttara. This was really very nice, transforming the challenges into opportunities. Definitely, that's the way we have to move ahead. Thank you so much for, giving such an insightful presentation and, making it so effective. Like we all may start thinking, what's the next opportunity waiting for us? Thanks a lot. So we just heard how innovation, digital technologies, and advanced traceability systems are helping organizations manage food safety risks across increasingly complex global food safety and supply chains. Yet as technology evolves, so do the challenges we face. Now, today's food safety landscape is being shaped not only by supply chain complexities, but also by emerging environmental risks, rapidly advancing artificial intelligence, changing competency requirements for food professionals, and perhaps one of the most underestimated threats of our time, misinformation. To explore these interconnected challenges and discuss how all stakeholders can prepare for the future, we now move on to a special fireside chat with our distinguished thought leader, Chinmay Deolgaonkar. Chinmay has 27 years experience in the food industry with specialization in certification, auditing, training, and regulatory activities. She is a FOSTAC ambassador and FSSAI national resource person. Chinmay has been a trainer for the regulatory officials of FSSAI, state FDA, Dubai municipality and in Kazakhstan. She has an international experience and has been engaged in multiple activities across more than 65 countries. She has shared insights in more than 1,000 conferences, including GFSI, Gulf Food, Gulf Food Manufacturing, Dubai International Food Safety Conferences. She has represented India in various ISO committee working groups of food safety management system standards. She has received Women Leadership Award from ASSOCHAM, Mumbai Women Leader and Asia Topmost Persons in Food Industry from World Congress. Recently, she has been acknowledged for being the top 100 inspiring women in India by Fox Story. In her previous role, she has worked with Food Chain ID as a managing director. Prior to that, she was the business head for foods and beverages with DNV, and now she is the managing director of Control Union India. Welcome, Chinmay, and you're my inspiration too. Okay, so let's have a lovely chat with you. In fact, I've been looking forward to this for a long time. So, as we are just seeing this presentation, the day unfold into multiple conversations, we are seeing that across many countries, there are unusually high temperatures currently. There are flood conditions, droughts, changes in the pest patterns. For example, some regions have reported increased fungal contamination in crops following extreme weather conditions. Now, many are also struggling with the water scarcity affecting their food processing operations. Traditionally, the climate change was considered as an environmental issue, but today it looks like all of us in the food industry are getting impacted by it. So, how do you see this climate change reshaping our food safety risks in the food business?
Thanks, Krishna, and thanks, CCC, for this opportunity. Actually, when Krishna reached out to me, she asked, like, will you talk on this? I said, yes, I can talk, but I can't make any presentation because my hand is fractured. So, and that's how we decided for Fire Chat. Thank you for accepting that. So, Krishna, actually, when 2 years back, I think that was the first time when ISO standards changed to include climate change as, one of the element of risk management. And for people or for, general industry, it was like, oh my God, ye kya additional aa gaya, like one of the thing tick in the box, itne sare risk identify karne hain, we have ASAP, we have ASAP, we have TASAP, and then what is it that we have to do additionally, And if you see from, a general, a desktop activity, this was like, for people, many of them were like a desktop activity. But this is indeed a challenge, and with the rejections, with the changes that we are seeing, this is no longer a future threat. This is the threat right now. And unless we are ready with those, analysis as one of the, one of the competent area of the current, future food technologies required, we won't be able to address food safety. Now, let me tell you, have you heard of this ELEFSA? Have you heard of this?
No, I think you should elaborate on this.
Okay, so this is something interesting, So
Yeah.
this is actually IPSA's, European Federation, IPSA's project on, or let's say it's a tool on doing climate change and emergency risk for food safety. That's how they have developed model for this. And in this model, what they have done is they have developed methodology to evaluate climate change and its impact on food safety with respect to plants, animals, water, and nutrition. And these are the four pillars of this, of this assessment, the way we categorize biological, chemical, and, physical hazard. Now, within this, what they have done is they have identified out of these four pillars, characterize various hazards. And these hazards are, biological and waterborne pathogen hazards. Okay, what is an impact of climate change on biological hazards and waterborne pathogens? What is an impact on marine biotoxins and freshwater algae? Now you see that the harmful freshwater algae is becoming a very, very prominent hazard in marine sector. The third one is emerging mycotoxins, and the fourth one is vector-borne diseases and pests, which means the viruses carrying pests, which are the new animals which are going to be carrier for viruses and parasites. They have done a fantastic study on using this one and identified by 2050 which are the areas which are going to be prone to climate change and which are the pests which are going to occur. And they have done that for spices, meat industry, for nut industry and many other sectors. And I would strongly recommend to do this, because in 15 minutes we can't explain this, but definitely the viewers of this this webinar, they can check on the Google, they can Google it out and see CLEFSA, the IPSAN is IPSA के against CL लगा दीजिए, and you can find out that methodology, and we will get to know that how it is really impacting us. The recent example of mangoes being rejected by Japan. So it's not that we don't have controls. The problem is that the pest, of course it has been with pesticides and other things, but I can also cite with other example of peanuts in Gujarat. The aflatoxin levels are consistently increasing, and we have rejection from not just from Europe but also from country like Indonesia. And now they are saying unless you have global gap there, we will not accept your peanuts. So more and more, so this, unless we have that, we inbuild this risk assessment into our regular risk assessment, the way do it for process and product, it is, our risk assessment is incomplete. And that is where I think it is time for us to really get into identifying how we are, ready with respect to future, identify what is it, because the conditions are very clear. Like you have drought, you have mycotoxins, you have flood, you have heavy metals, you have contaminants, you have sewage water, and blah blah blah. So, and now there are so many novel foods. There are insect based foods, there are plant based novel foods, and multiple other foods. So how do we do a risk assessment of this, like insect foods, insect based foods? Have we done, change in climate? Where is the risk assessment, right? So that's where, this is, it's not just a tick in the box activity, but it is time for us to do this with seriousness in reality.
So
So
essentially, you're saying that the risk assessment that was earlier just the physical, chemical, biological hazards now need to have these four pillars also.
absolutely,
Correct.
absolutely.
And that would essentially mean that the risk, even when we go to assess this, we have to be
We have to be first knowledgeable. We need to
we have to
know
be
what that,
knowledgeable
yeah,
about it.
correct.
I mean, this is like, and it's a very big subject because we may be good at understanding what the marine biology may have, but we may not really understand what that vector carrying
Absolutely.
uh, element will actually show up.
Exactly.
So this calls for a bigger conversation and understanding as well. I mean, amazing. I never thought that climate change really had such a big impact. Thank you for bringing it to us, Chinmay. Uh, in fact, what do you think the food industry should adopt? Now, they will adopt these four pillars. But again, they will need to do a lot more work on it. Okay. Just adopting it and putting it in the documentation wouldn't help. So,
Exactly.
what do you think should be taken up from here?
So I think my previous speakers has also given that it is a complete supply chain, right? So any risk assessment is giving us, it is making us ready for that, identifying and putting mitigation plan, right? So some
Right.
things are unavoidable, some things can be avoided. So when we say if it's a new hazard, it is something that was not known. So we have to face it. But when we know that there are changes happening in the existing hazards, we know that, okay, this is what I need to put in extra measures. Typically you just take our normal water treatment. Earlier it used to be only chlorine. I think मेरे childhood में तो we used to do only alum this thing. Then it was like chlorine. Then we added number of filters. Then there were other thing. Then UV light, and the number of things has been now our regular household water filters are with number of control measures. So that it will change. So it is something like what we say in today's world, learn, unlearn, learn. So it is something something like that. So no longer it is the copy paste of, okay, the chances of microbiological contamination on yeast and mold and just doing something. It is something, what is the source, what is the hazard, and where is it, if it is not now. Because typically, Krishna, what is happening, or typically in my career, what I have seen is we have always seen the hazard assessment as probability and severity, but we have not really taken exposure element into our assessment. Not, I mean, it's not that it is not done, but few people have done that, but majority it's only probability and severity, but lesser of exposure part. And these three element makes the risk, and that is where this climate change, the process, the product, and everything has to be considered in totality to identify what are the control measures. And that is where I personally feel that ISO 22000 is one of the best standard when it comes to food safety management system, because it not just talks about just the hazard identification, but it emphasizes on how confident you are on your control measures. And when it asks you to evaluate your control measures, through 8 questions, whatever it is, and identify them as critical, OPRP, or whatever, define it. In any sense, it is like you have to have control measures, and that is the crux of any management system.
Absolutely. And of course, now from what we see, we all need to have a very holistic approach around it.
Correct.
It cannot be just one-off things. We all have seen that the risk assessment that were usually done, there was usually a focus just on few parameters. And
Correct.
they would write pages on it and control the whole thing. And then many things would just go unnoticed, and then they would create a
No,
bigger
it's
problem.
time for us, to change that. So if you personally ask me, I mean, I know you would ask this thing, like, we discussed on having, what should be the competencies of future food professionals and this thing. So I personally feel that, the future professionals must have this ability of climate risk assessment and predictive analysis. The statistical process control and these things, these are extremely essential for, future food professionals.
In fact, adding to this, I also feel even AI is playing a very big role these days. Taking from climate change, like especially now when we talk about this risks emerging from the climate change, and the tool that you are talking about, I'm sure AI is also capable of identifying a lot of them. Right?
Yes.
So when we talk of these AI predicting equipment failures, that also can be a very big risk tomorrow.
Yes.
We are depending on it so much. Yeah, just I think about a couple of days ago, I heard there is one US FDA rejected one cosmetic company application for a new cosmetics, because they said since the entire thing has been done by an AI agent, they don't need a validation. And US FDA said, how can it be? I mean, this is a complete failure of the AI agent. Okay, and the company depended on it so much that their application got rejected finally. So this can be one of the very big concerns with using AI also tomorrow.
Well, I would say, Krishna, AI, so where there are rules, or where there are, regulations, I mean, where there are figures, there are rules, AI is possible because there are rules and there are calculations and then there is an analysis. But where judgment is essential,
Yes.
it has to be with human intervention.
Absolutely.
Right? Judgment cannot be left to AI. Judgment has to be with human intervention. And that's why generally people, when I ask people that what is the definition of AI, people say artificial intelligence. I say, no, it is not artificial intelligence. It is assisted intelligence.
Exactly. True.
So
that it will just help us.
it will help us. It should help us in giving some analysis,
Yeah.
but the judgment has to be with the human brain.
Exactly. Like I remember one of the factory managers, he said just a few days ago, we have so much of data because there is a lot of opportunity to, gather data. But where is the insight? So
So that's where I said,
Yeah.
There are data is available when there are rules, and the rules, that data can be analyzed. The judgment has to be human. So there are a number of examples actually, where AI has been used. Uttara has also mentioned about use of IoTs and this thing for capturing the data. Now I remember, even when there was no AI, when there was things were manual, हम लोग ऑडिटिंग के वक्त पूछते थे इतना सारा रिकॉर्ड बना के रखा है उसका यूज क्या कर रहे हो, राइट? इतना टोकरी भर भर के ऐसे रिपोर्ट्स आते थे
वो तो
हम लोग
टेंशन
पूछते थे
हमको
कि
होता
हमें डर
था
लग रहा है.
वो फाइल्स देख के, oh my God, so much we have to see.
करेक्ट. सो इट इज सेम थिंग. ओनली थिंग वो फाइल जो है वो मैनुअल फाइल से अभी वो डिजिटल फाइल में कन्वर्ट हो गया है. बट अनलेस द डेटा इज यूटिलाइज, दैट कलेक्शन ऑफ डेटा हैज नो मीनिंग. सो किस चीज के लिए चाहिए डेटा यूज? यू नीड इट फॉर योर प्रोसेस इंप्रूवमेंट, यू नीड इट फॉर प्रिवेंटिंग समथिंग,
Correct.
you need to identify something for, as a predictive part. So that choice is yours depending upon what is required for you in your supply chain. So essentially everything is, the data is big data, and it has to be, it needs analysis. It needs analysis for the reason what we need, where what we need to improve upon, and it is as simple as that. But don't leave judgment to the, onto the computer. Judgment has to be on the human beings, because data is, data is skeptical. So I know, this packaging defects. Industry is using, AI for identifying packaging defects. They're identifying for milk adulteration. In fact, rather in, every animal you see that nowadays is, having a tag for, and where the data is so accurately gathered that वो कब उसका ovulation होगा, what time it will have its, the germ, the sperm has to be inserted. Till that level, the data is captured, and it is pretty well. So long as data is used for process efficiency and effectiveness, it is perfectly fine. And I think it has to be used. So treat AI as assisted intelligence and not as artificial intelligence.
Absolutely. In fact, just to go forward, we can also have AI to act as an early warning system. Oh,
Absolutely, and that is what is happening also in grains. So they detect mycotoxin. In fact, if you see US FDA, they have a software called ELISA. The frozen की जो ELISA थी उसके नाम से ही है, ELISA software है. Software in the sense it is, the tool is AI. AI tool is called as ELISA. And what they do, उनके जितने भी inspections होते हैं, उनके जितने भी reports होते हैं, label inaccuracy होती है, ELISA does the scanning and she scans the report and give it to them that, okay, this side, this one, these were the finding, this is the area, this is the industry trend, these are the level inconsistencies, this product, and that is the complete, this horizontal, vertical scanning that is being done. I think that is where it has to be used,
exactly. Yeah. And see, that saves a lot of effort also. Otherwise, how much human effort would have gone in just identifying that risk? If AI
Correct.
can do it for you, nothing like it. I mean,
Correct.
and also, like, when we talk of these kind of tools available, do you think in India also we have begun using them
Oh
somewhere?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Can you
There
correct?
are, that's where I said, there are things in the, I think Prince has also replied, there is a project Sagu Bahu in Telangana,
Correct.
wherein they are using AI for agriculture. So it is being used. AI is no longer a stranger. It is very much part of our daily life. It is only how we are utilizing that for our efficiency and effectiveness, that is the crux.
Right, absolutely. I think that's what you put it right. How we are using it is more important.
Yeah.
We may have a lot of
Some also said we are using it extensively. So it's no
yeah,
longer a alien for us right now.
correct. And the only thing we need to know what we want from it.
Correct,
We can
correct,
just keep pouring stuff. There is so again we'll be sitting only on data.
correct,
Unless we really have a proper use of the data that we get. Now,
correct.
like coming back to competencies that we touched upon. Now that we talk so much about it, what what do you think, food safety professionals of next decade, they will be actually under pressure right now, hearing you and me. वो बोलेंगे कि ये तो हमको आने के पहले ही हमको निकाल देंगे इंडस्ट्री से क्योंकि हमको ये सब पता ही नहीं है शायद. So, what do
That's a
you think? Yeah.
it's a good question, yes, Aisha. And this is, I think, as I said like before, what is it that typically when we say, जहाँ पे it comes like, okay, we have our science and we have this thing. The future competencies are on technology. Okay, future competencies are with a learning mindset. Now, as I told you, like earlier, climate risk assessment, predictive analysis, environmental monitoring, water stewardship, food fraud prevention, supply chain resilience, mycotoxins. Now, these are all the areas which are required, a full kind of assessment. Now, if today's food scientists and technologists, I still remember, I mean, अभी future की बात करें, मैं अभी की बात मतलब अभी फिलहाल के लिए आई रिमेम्बर आई हैड गॉन टू वन कॉलेज एज ए इवेल्युएटर एंड उसमें अंदर में उन्होंने ये किया था दे आई मीन इट दे वर स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ मास्टर्स प्रोग्राम एंड उन्होंने कुछ लड्डू बनाए थे कुछ पिकल बनाए थे एंड ब्ला 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 सो आई सेड टेल मी एज अ फूड टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट okay what is the extra thing that you have brought in this your project how your project is different than a home science project राइट होम साइंस में हम लोग भी वो लोगों को मतलब यही होता है ना लड्डू बनाओ पिकल बनाओ जैम बनाओ ये करो सो व्हाट इज इट दैट यू आर डूइंग एज अ फूड टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट दे वर अनेबल टू टेल so now that is where our current system has to change that this is what is it for the students what are the practical challenges and unless we have this the I mean, exposure levels to the students. These things, that thought process, that they are essential for development of people. I mean, your simulation training नया नहीं है, right? Pilots को सब pilots को simulation training दिया जाता है. Why that simulation training, VR based training doesn't exist in food industry?
True. It
Right?
is not needed, in fact.
It is a simple thing that people telling, okay, recall हो गया, ये आ गया, अभी क्या करोगे, वो क्या करोगे, वो क्या करोगे. A simple thing of simulation training will develop, competence. It is something like, so this is where we need to have, this is where we need to now go out of the box to think what is it using technology that we can give better, but at a, accurate space. It is not about giving too much of information, but it is about giving real lifetime information.
Absolutely. And, as we talk about this, see, the food safety professionals who come in tomorrow, they need to come with certain skills. ये सब knowledge तो ठीक है, but skill भी तो होना चाहिए.
Absolutely.
Skill बहुत जरूरी है. And somehow our education system right now does not focus on the skill at all. It just focuses on burdening you with knowledge so that you read.
Which is available on intranet. So internet and intranet.
Internet, and that's why even nowadays many students, no, they go and tell the teacher also, कि before you tell us, we'll tell you what it is.
Yeah, and then we know you have raised your hand. You can put your question. We will take question answers at the end. I guess that is what Rama ma'am had mentioned.
Correct. So I
Yeah.
think we should also come up with probably some solution wherein we can tell the colleges to adopt certain ways of study,
Yeah.
maybe developing skills and other things. So in fact, one of the very important things that I think is even the information exchange that we have currently. So the
Social media.
the kind of information that goes around. So many consumers now receive that food safety information probably from the social media than from the regulator or the scientist. Many people even who talk to me, they say, नहीं आपको नहीं पता, हम बता रहे हैं. मैंने कहा yes, यही सही है. So we have seen all examples. We have seen those beautiful viral videos which claim certain foods are unsafe, misinformation about food additives, unverified claims spreading rapidly. And they are so dominant that if you try to put in some scientific knowledge in that, people start telling you, no, 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 no. You listen from us. It's correct what we say. So what do you think? How can we challenge this kind of misinformation? We'll have to do something to stop it in future because this can
I
be
think
creating havoc.
so. I think it's all about awareness and it is all also about regulations. Okay. Now, let me talk to you on this part. We have this consumer protection law and there is also Indian Influencers Governing Council. Okay. Now, both of them have given some regulations for influencers. Very few of them follow, but there are regulations. And we as a consumer also, we don't know. We as a listener also, we don't know that there are regulations for influencers. So let me give you those 6 regulations which are there for the influencers community.
Okay.
One is you have to display your personal experience or expertise when you are releasing that reel. This is the first regulation. Means आपको बताना है आप डॉक्टर हो, आप मास्टर्स हो, आप ये हो, वो हो, before you start your reel. Okay, this is the first regulation.
Okay.
The second regulation is your claims has to be substantiated with facts. You cannot just arbitrarily say कि palm oil खाने से ये होता है वो होता है. I mean, you have to talk about facts. Okay, this is the second regulation. Third regulation is transparency in ad, which means that transparency in your communication, which means that whether your reel is sponsored, in collaboration, promoted, ये उसमें लिख के आना चाहिए कि that आपका जो ये particular चीज को आप कर रहे हो, this is a sponsored thing. Fourth thing is the disclosure part, which means that they are, what are the disclosures that they are making based on what the reel is made, including there are many virtual influencers, right? They are not real human beings, but there are virtual ones. So this influencer is also a virtual influencer. ये भी एक rule है.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this has to come in the reel. Then the fifth rule is separation of personal views versus professional views. Okay, no health claim, no cure claim, and all these things. And there should not be fake followers. These are the 6 rules of the influencers community. Now, if we just follow these 6 rules, I think we are kind of sorted out that this whether to trust this rule or not.
Now, when you talk about the 6 rules, really this is very informative. But unfortunately, our population doesn't even know about these 6 rules.
ये ऐसे है ना, धीरे धीरे ये अवेयरनेस बढ़ाना पड़ेगा. तभी वो उसके ऊपर we will have controls on this.
Absolutely. And you know what? In fact, this kind of the influencers and the social media viral videos, they have had many negative impacts on food industry as well. There are so many food industries who have been impacted because of certain things spoken about them just openly without any.
Yeah, this iodine in paneer is a classic example. By that time, even company could come out with their statement on third day. Their damage was almost like done.
Absolutely.
So there was a question which I could just see कि अगर if influencers are not following, what should we do? Then that is why this is a part of consumer protection law. So you have to you have to raise a complaint to consumer protection law authorities.
Yeah, and in fact, it was good that you really told us about this, because many of us are really not aware of so many laws that already exist. We all blindly go for the reels, watch them, and then enjoy them. Many of them will keep forwarding. So within a few hours, it will have millions of views, and then actual whatever has happened, that has gone somewhere in the background.
Absolutely.
In fact, there are many cases around the globe where actual incident did not provoke so much of a concern, but whatever happened around it was a bigger concern around. And it has created burdens on the public health. It has created burden everywhere on the regulatory framework. And in fact, coming to our consumers. See, whatever you said, if the consumer does not take on this awareness as something as his or her responsibility, having all this is of no meaning.
Right.
Right. So this interesting observation is that the consumer expects a very high standard, whereas from the food business operators, right? But many still struggle in those basic things that they need to take on, like read the label at least.
Exactly. So that's where, Krishna, I say that awareness is the only thing, education is the only thing. And if I have to, talk about consumers to the young generation, because I know we are towards the end of the session, 15 minutes, I would say that, I would urge youngsters not to take these, challenges, raw egg khao, raw cookie dough khao, all these things, which are coming up as a part of your strength and this thing on social media. Please stop them, because they are really impacting. They are very strong thing for food safety, ensuring food safety. You cannot eat raw egg, you cannot eat, raw dough. So don't attend to such challenges which are always, posed on social media.
Correct. So in fact, we should also probably come up with how can the consumers become active partners in promoting food safety with us.
I think that CCC has a very wide, good role also to play here, and the participants over here can really, give ideas that how we can collectively, it's our social responsibility, I would put it that way, that, we are training our new generation that, okay, this is real, the food safety means processing doesn't mean it is bad. It is something that you need to be mindful of what you are eating and other things. So I think it is time for us to, get into our social responsibility framework as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Chinmay. In fact, it has been so nice speaking to you about so many things. And you gave us a lot of information about what we can take on from where we can follow up. So the future of food safety looks like is being shaped not only by pathogens, contaminants, regulations, but also by climate change, technology, information integrity, and above all, consumer behavior. So your
Absolutely.
piece of advice to consumers is definitely well taken, and it should be, I think we should promote it again and again through various channels. Like what should a consumer do? Now,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
thank you for really coming on the show, and your idea of fireside chat, I'm sure people must have liked it. Uh, we will come with more such chats because this is very interesting. So thank you, Chinmay, and thank you really for helping us understand, how we can move forward with understanding the challenges to identifying the practical solutions that can really make safe food available everywhere. So this fireside chat highlighted a powerful reality. While climate change, emerging technologies, evolving competencies, and misinformation present significant challenges, no single organization, regulator, technology, or individual can address them alone. The future of food safety will definitely depend not only on innovation and technical expertise, but also on how effectively stakeholders work together, take responsibility for their actions, and foster a culture where food safety is everyone's priority. This leads us to a perfectly uh, next session, which is on collaboration, accountability, and culture for safer food systems. So, join me as I welcome Asha Sridhar. Asha heads the quality assurance um, work at Praveen Masalewale and is an advisor on strategy and policies. She was earlier the director with Food Chain ID, which is an US-based international multinational. Asha has over 30 years of experience in handling quality and food safety functions with a major stint in TIC bodies like TUV Nord. She has worked in hotels and flight kitchens like Taj and Ambassadors and has got hands on experience in food production, designing kitchens, trainings, food safety procedure, statutory requirements, implementation. She's a qualified veto and senior auditor and a qualified trainer for international food safety standards like HACCP, ISO 22000, FAMIQS, BRC, Global Gap, to name a few, and has conducted more than 1,000 audits. She was a distinguished speaker at the SARC conference 2011 and gave a presentation on food safety certifications in SARC nations to the women entrepreneurs. She has authored 6 books on implementation of food safety in various sectors like food processing. Welcome, Asha. We all wait to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll just share my screen.
Sure.
Yeah, hi. Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think very interesting fireside chat, and thank you so much, CCC and Krishna, for inviting me in. I think we have had some really good sessions, so I think more mine, maybe some of the repeats, but just trying to see what I can do. Yes, as I said, climate change is real, and just to give you an example, me being from the spice industry, we have had some catastrophic pest issues in our freshly harvested coriander. And this was the first time this has been happening, not only to us, to every buyer. And we are digging deep into what could be the reason, but one of the immediate solution which has emerged is, of course, the climate change. With so many new data centers opening, though we are also want to make money, but what about the water? It is going to take off, the very good quality water, which is no longer maybe available. And this is really happening in many of the major cities, even like Bangalore. So just a minute, this is not moving. Just a minute. Yeah. So when we say, as Shubha says, burden has not been equally distributed, we know that for sure. Children under 5, they continue to bear 40% of the total food issues and leading to almost 1,25,000 death annually. And this is by the WHO, this number. And this has been, and because of the climate change, it's got a huge economy, huge impact on economics, harming livelihood, affecting vulnerable populations, regions, and also it also is becomes like a break for developing nations. And together we need to come together, design something which is resilient from farm to fork, not just in some nations, not just in some sectors, not just in some areas of food. And it's very important. Together we collaborate, and I think with CCC, I think we should, as Chinmay has already rolled down the ball, we together have to see what we can do best to ensure that we continue this awareness and bring out some actual changes. So what we can do, so this I have summed up. What does the government do? They are in charge of compliance, they are in charge of regulations. They need to prioritize food safety on a continuous basis. It has to be one of the key responsibilities continue to be for the government. Need to make stronger policies, strategies which can be rolled out in a much better way. Try to include everyone now. No longer, I think we have the luxury of saying that yes, we should, not include the ground level. I think those days are gone. We seriously have to think about, as a government, to see how we rolled out FSSI throughout the entire India. Same way, initiate some drastic action at the ground level. Look at the newer risk, study them, and implement preventions at a much larger level, because this also helps us to strengthen the data collections. Today, government needs to play a very important role in collecting all the data that is available for us in India, not only in India, but globally. Because the moment we get the data, we have some key dynamics which we can act on, and we can regulate it better and take further actions. I think data is going to be the key for us, even in food safety. As FBOs, huge challenge. Completely, we have to be completely responsible, and that means continue to strengthen the training. Train and train. I think there is no end to training. I always feel and say that training is one of the key CCPs in the food industry. Identify newer risk, look at controlling the hazards, and as all the people here have put in, identify newer risk and also look at infrastructural issues. We just cannot give the teams okay, you should not do this, or keep washing hands, or work around this way. You have to work around this way, wearing gloves. But what about the infrastructure? What about the infrastructure? What about the better conditions, the environment today? So looking at all that, every FBO has to think over, look at better and better, looking at better risk handling. Also continuously use the science-based evidences and preventive measures. And we as health professionals here play a very important role. We have seen what epidemics is happening. You have the Ebola, you have the COVID, which decimated us. So each health professional, including sanitary worker or a medicinal professional, need to strengthen the detection level, collaborate at various levels, look at the data, look at key areas, increase the surveillances, which will help us prevent, and more into mathematical modeling, because we know some areas and some regions are always going to be vulnerable. So even the health professional today have to work very closely together to bring out the data and look at how the statistics is going to be and be ready to control. And consumers, I think we have consumers have to keep asking too many questions, stay informed, practice the, 5 key takeaways which WHO has said. Act, look at recalls, study the recalls, report issues. And as consumer, we need to stay informed and on top and continue to be active. So I would say that more together we work, more we collaborate with each other, we become more powerful, we empower each other. So schools, our education starts right from the school level or the college level, where you encourage exhibitions on food safety, health safety, environmental safety, have marathons, social media, as everyone said today, be a responsible consumer and do use the social media for better. So thus we come together. I think we can really, really empower and work together to really look at the changing phenomena of addressing not only the food safety, but also the environmental and the climatic change, which is really happening at a very sweeping levels. And today we can see that. Today we can really see how hot it is, how the seasons have changed, how we are waiting for the rainfall, how places have become arid, how the migration of the animals is occurring, and so on and so forth. So end my talk here. Thank you so much, everyone here, and let's work together and come together. And 3 cheers to CCC. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Asha. A very nice presentation. Really, you summed up so well, like how we all can come together and, have food safety as our priority at all times. Yeah, and it was really good because you were so crisp and you spoke about everyone's responsibility very clearly. Thank you so much for this session.
Thank you.
Throughout this discussion that we are having since 3 o'clock, we have repeatedly heard that ensuring safe food everywhere is just not one person's responsibility. So everyone is, a part and parcel of this whole thing. And right from where the farmer starts sowing his seeds, uh, it moves from there and comes to our plate. We are all responsible for it. Like as a consumer, if I don't have the food on a clean plate, that's exactly where the whole food safety that we are talking about collapses. So now, in this entire value chain, right from the farmer till the consumer, there is one stakeholder who's very, very important, and that's the testing laboratory. They play a very critical role. Every food safety decision, from the regulatory compliance and product release to risk assessment and international trade, depends on the reliability and validity of these laboratory results. This is where ISO 17025 becomes fundamental. While it provides a globally recognized framework for laboratory competence, impartiality, and consistent operation, it also presents both opportunities and challenges for laboratories operating in an increasingly demanding environment. From technological advancements and digital transformation to evolving regulatory expectations and competency requirements, laboratories must continuously adapt to remain relevant and trusted. To help us understand these emerging risks and opportunities associated with ISO 17025 implementation, it is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Devisaran Tiwari, who will share his valuable insights on how laboratories can move beyond compliance and leverage quality systems as a strategic advantage. Mr. Devisaran Tiwari is the president of Federation for Development of Accreditation Services, FDAS. He has earlier served as the former director of NABL, the National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration Laboratories. He was the former head of National Good Laboratory Practice Compliance Monitoring Authority. He was the head of DVG Laboratories and a consultant for prominent testing, calibration, and regulatory advisory firm. He has been serving as a global quality specialist for laboratory accreditation across multiple nations, including Mauritius, Libya, Mongolia, and Bangladesh, frequently operating under UNIDO projects. He has personally trained over 5,000 laboratory professionals globally on ISO 17025 compliance and laboratory systems. He has more than 20 years of foundational, operational, and core technical experience across chemical process industries. And he is one of the original founder members and the life chairman of the Association of Indian Laboratories. He serves on prominent multi-stakeholder framework, steering, and technical committees such as the Healthcare Compliance Assessment Committees under AMTZ alongside the national regulators. Welcome, sir. We look forward to hearing from you and knowing more about the risks and opportunities related to ISO 17025 implementation.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for giving me a chance to speak on this topic. I do not know how I will be able to link it with World Food Safety Day, but I'll be speaking something about laboratories. I have spent my more than 45 years only in laboratory accreditation system, right when I joined Department of Science and Technology in 1985 after 18 years of industrial experience.
So laboratories are a very important stakeholder in this entire chain. Laboratories do not exist, we may not be able to clear one product. It will never reach the consumer.
Sure, madam. So I was the one who made NABL in 1992.
So we are privileged to have you here, sir, today. Thank you so much for joining us.
And I got the chance while I'm in Department of Science and Technology to establish National GLP Compliance Monitoring Authority.
Right.
The laboratories which are involved in doing the toxicological studies. Now coming back to standard, I have spent my most of the time only on this standard. So I speak on this standard on 17,025. I will be speaking on 17,025. In 17,025, the risk has come in two places. इनको सब यहाँ शकल दिखाओ सबकी जरा ऐसा लोगों की हाँ हाँ ये लोगों की फेस आने चाहिए कहाँ फेस आ रहे हैं क्या नहीं अरे वो तो आई है good, thank you. Actually, I wanted to see you also, okay. Dr. Krishna, but because it makes no sense without seeing the participants to speak. So I asked my grandson to help it because it got disturbed. Here, power failures are there. So he did it. Now, 17,025, risk word has come in two places. In one place, it talks how to avoid the risk. What are the factors by which you can avoid the risk in the operation of laboratories? Second place, on which I'll be speaking, it takes how a laboratory is supposed to take risk if laboratory wants to take the risk, how it should take the risk. Now, the very fact that this clause is a part of the standard, it means it enables a laboratory to take the risk. It opens a window for the laboratory to take the risk. Now the question is on what topics it can take the risk and how it can take the risk. You know, the accreditation bodies which give accreditation to the laboratories, they give accreditation for a defined scope. The field can be anything. It can be food also, it can be any other thing. They identify the scope and they give the accreditation for that very particular scope. I have been involved in laboratory accreditation system for more than 45 years. What I used to think at that time, the laboratory is a place where scientists work. Some ideas will come to them. If we restrict their working, if we don't allow them to do, then how the innovations will take place, how the science will progress. After all these years, science has been progressing like with the help of people who came with certain ideas and they tried to prove it. So there was no answer. But with the coming of 17,025, 2017 version, there is a clause on risk and opportunities. Now you see this, the word risk is associated with opportunities. Risk and opportunities. The clause is one and there is a word in between, that is and. If you want to avail opportunities, what is an opportunity? What is an opportunity? Let us understand what is an opportunity and what is a risk. Opportunity is something which gives you a chance to do something new. And if you do something new, it involves risk. That is why risk and opportunities. Because for a laboratory which is accredited laboratory, I'm not talking about research laboratories, a laboratory which is accredited laboratory, accreditation bodies have defined the scope that you can do this thing and for that you are accredited. But now, suppose a client comes to you for a product to be tested, which is not covered in your scope. But if you go into the detail, what goes into the testing of product, you find all the equipments which are required for testing this product are available with us. All the parameters can be determined by us. The only thing is that it is not covered in our scope. And now you want to undertake that job. It means if you are doing something new, it becomes a risk. Now, what is risk? Risk is something which is not followed in a standard way. For example, it is well known that when you are crossing a road, there is a rule that you should go to the zebra line. When you see the light, then you cross the road. There is no risk in crossing the road. But suppose if you are in a situation where the zebra line is far away and you want to cross road in between, then there is a risk in crossing the road. So how do you do the elimination of the risk? You will see the left and you will see the right, you will see the left and you will see the right. And when you are able to determine that the incoming traffic is far away and in that time you will be able to cross that road, that means you have eliminated the risk. This is the simplest example. Now, in a situation like laboratory, you have to see what goes into conducting a test which you have. This I'm talking within the boundary line of
Yep. Yes, sir.
17,025. This I'm talking within the boundary line of 17,025. I'm not crossing the boundary line of 17,025. Now, if you have to do some testing, which is a new product, if it is a known product, then you have got your management system, all the documents are available, all the procedures are available, all the standards are available, traceability is available, everything is there. But now if something new has come, then you have to examine what goes into testing of this product. You will say that equipments are available, traceability is there, test methods are available, except such and such item which you can procure. Environmental conditions are available. Your people are testing most of the parameters that will constitute it, because after all, parameter remains the same. Parameters remain the same. You will be doing that thing, and that is the way you will eliminate. You will try to identify the factors which are required. Then you will study one by one, one by one. You will see the test methods which are available, whether they are from the standard writing institutions. If they are available from standard writing institutions, then there is no problem. If they are not available from standard writing institutions and the laboratory is required to develop its own test method, then they can develop that test method, but they have to validate it. If they have done the validation of that thing, then, first they have identified the risk, and then they will see how they have eliminated this, and then they will synchronize and make a procedure that this is the procedure for conducting that test by eliminating every risk. Then they should take an item for testing for which the results are known to them. And after testing, if they get the same results, that means they have validated, they have done the verification of the method they have developed, then they can feel sure that they have arrived at a situation where everything has been considered and risk has been eliminated, and they have made the procedure. Then you should get it approved from the authorized person that he is approving it and gives you the permission to operate your system. That means by doing this act, it becomes a part of your management system. It becomes a part of your documented management system. But if it is a part of the documented management system, and then if you perform the activity, then risk gets eliminated. And you can do the testing. Now, the question is whether you can claim accreditation for such items or not. Because the accreditation body, which has given you the accreditation, it has not included that very particular item of test in the scope for which they have given you the accreditation. Accreditation body may say that we have not included it, so you cannot use your accreditation status for this test. Accreditation body may say, because our certificate which we have given you for accreditation does not include this item. But my interpretation is, because if you are a laboratory, if you do anything which is not in your scope of accreditation given by accreditation body, then accreditation body will not interfere in your business. Whatever test reports you are issuing, and you are not claiming accreditation status for that, and you are claiming that we are not accredited for this, then accreditation body has no business to interfere in your work. You can continue doing this. But my interpretation is that the very inclusion of this clause in this standard empowers you to use accreditation status, subject to the condition that you should inform laboratory accreditation body that we have conducted this test and we have taken all these precautions, and this is for your information. In next cycle of assessment, we will include in our scope for accreditation, and if you want, we can apply it right now, and so that you can include it in your accreditation. This is my interpretation of this clause, and my purpose of speaking like this to you people was that I must I must at least let people know that this provision is there in 17,025, and amongst the audience, if there is any person, including you people, who are there involved with the laboratory activities, will be able to consider this point. And I will request you to read this class. Now, having said this, now let me say something extra. What is documented management system for a laboratory? What is documented management system for a laboratory? There are two types of documented management system for a laboratory. One is based on 17,025. One is based on technical. That means that kind of test you are doing, because they are not covered in 17,025. The kind of test you are doing, if you are electrical field, electrical, NDT, biological, food testing lab, you will be covering all those things. So that means you are having ISO standards or BIS standard or IS standard, whatever standard you are using, you will be using those standards for conducting the test. So your documented management system is having all these things. And if you are performing any activity which is today approved by the management, then whatever you will do, that falls within your scope, and you have taken the accreditation. But something which is outside the documented management system, you should develop the required documents in the way I have explained you, and then get the approval of the management or the person who gives the approval to the documents, include in your management system, and then you do your job. That will be taking care of everything. This is what I wanted to emphasize. This is very simple presentation. It is not something big, but my intention was to make you realize about the importance of risk and opportunities. And then this is something where you are permitted to take the risk and avail the opportunities. If you do something new, that means you are availing opportunities. The other place where the risk has come, it has come in the clause of impartiality. So there it is saying that laboratory should be very careful in doing the things where what is impartiality? Impartiality is when conflict of interest are there, then impartiality will be coming into the picture. So this is standard as identified the places where the impartiality can be there, and then they are talking about this. And if you are carrying this thing, then these are the things which are to be cared. But this 8.5 clause is for taking the risk. You can take the risk. People go to Himalaya. After all, it is a risk. And something like that. If you take the jump and all that type of. So the nature of human is to take the risk. If human being has not taken the risk, then we would have not come to this stage of growth. Thank you very much. As far as I am concerned, I have completed. My presentation is there that I will give you, and then it can be distributed to the people.
Thank you so much,
If
sir.
any question is there, then I can answer.
Thanks a lot, sir. In fact, it was so good. See, many of the food industries, they also have their own laboratories, and they do implement ISO 17025. So whatever you have spoken about, the risks related to the testing, the risks related to impartiality, all of them actually are there in those kind of organizations. And I'm sure if we have audience from food industries who have their own laboratories, they will definitely take care of this. This presentation was very insightful. Thank you so much for this, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now we can actually open the session for our audience, and if they have questions for our speakers, please, you all may please share your questions.
Yeah, Shantnu this side, madam.
Yes, Shantanu, please.
And to the sir, Devi sir, sir, the last line very well taken, sir. Risk should be taken. Until and unless we are into the risk-taking position, we can't go for the advancement. If we do all the activities within a controlled atmosphere, though it is also required for day-to-day activities or whatever there, but if you have to go to R&D and these things, that risk is a must. And second thing, sir, it is just like a query. Let us say laboratory, about the laboratory, right? This is what I have observed. Laboratory say that I'm accredited laboratory. And even that accreditation bodies or NABL said that, okay, you must put NABL logo on your test report, right? So in case if a single product, in a single report, there are few tests which are NABL accredited and few tests which are not under that scope, but there is a single report, okay, then how this reporting method should be followed? Because that report, what I understood, should carry NABL accreditation, NABL logo, sorry. During our time, it was a NABL sticker is there. We have to put that monogram, NABL monogram on the laboratory, also on the report. Over to you, sir.
May I answer your question?
Please, sir.
Now the question is, let me tell you a little bit of history. When accreditation program started, its name was NCTCF, National Coordination for Testing and Calibration Facilities. Union, it will be there in those committees. We had more than 80 committees in formulating that program. It took 6 years for developing that program. Everything was there. And we had not developed that program based on products. We had developed that program based on parameters. That if you can do the testing of pH, you can do the testing of pH at any place. If you can measure the resistance, you can measure the resistance. It will, of course, it will depend on range, but you will be able to measure the range. So that way the program was going on. Unfortunately, I went to Canada for attending the ILAC meeting, and there which
So no sound.
Receiving the applications in 800, just listen to me. We are receiving applications in 800 pages, 100 pages, 6.
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir. Actually, it is not clear, sir.
If you convert it into the parameters, then the applications.
Tiwari sir, your voice is breaking. Sorry, sir. Tiwari sir, your voice is breaking actually. I think there is a signal issue.
Yeah. So you can switch off
Now are you able to listen me?
Yes.
Now, because the industry which is seeking accreditation, they want that for each item they test, all the tests should be in one place, because BIS is giving them recognition on that basis and other regulators are giving them recognition on that basis. That is why earlier program had fizzled out. Having said that, what I told you, when Department of Science and Technology started laboratory accreditation program, my boss, Dr. Kumble, had conducted a survey in the country, how many laboratories are there in 1978. At that time, there were 3 lakh laboratories in the country, only testing laboratories.
Okay.
Now there are more than 10 lakh laboratories in this country. One day I was sitting with Dr. Sood. You may be knowing about, not Dr. Sood, Dr. Lal, Path Lab. I told him, Dr. Sahab, there are 86,000 medical testing laboratory. Such and such person was telling me. He said, Tiwari ji, kis jawane mein rehte ho? Now it is 2017. Now there are 3,60,000 medical testing laboratories which are registered with the government. So if you take the case, there are 10 lakh laboratories. at this point of time, and NABL has given accreditation to only 10,000 laboratories so far. And it was me at that time who used to write to the government that you please, because my secretary will be the chairman of the board and other secretaries will be attending the meeting, I will request them at that time, sir, you ask your subordinate officers and public sector units and Ministry of Health fellows, etc., to go for NABL accreditation. I never used to name the standard because at that time we had written NABL criteria. I was not writing that 17025 or ISO IC guide 25. So what has happened now? Government requirements, all government records, NABL name is written. Now I was persuaded by a group of laboratories to start another accreditation program. So I started another laboratory accreditation program for which you are seeing my name is there as a president. Federation for Accreditation of Test Laboratories, FDS, Accreditation Services, Federation for Accreditation Services, Federation for Development of Accreditation Services. So now I have given accreditation to more than 100 laboratories, and out of that, more than 10 countries are there from abroad. And we are giving the accreditation. Now we are facing problem from the government because I write 17025 accredited laboratory. Government says it should be NABL accredited laboratory, these consumers. So that is why there is a problem, whether it is APIDA or other agencies of the government. We are fighting for them. And so far I have written letters to every secretary. Last letter which I wrote about 20 days back, it was to Cabinet Secretary. After that, I am going to write PM. After that, I am going to court that government should accept the test reports from every accreditation bodies. Because we are member of the ILAC, APLAC. We are governed by the same chain of hierarchy. Now, coming back to Shantnu Gupta ji, your question was that NABL is demanding that it should be having NABL logo. So what I was trying to tell you, as far as my interpretation is there, if somebody is having FDS accreditation, I will say that you can use for 8.5 class, only for application of 8.5 class, that you have applied 8.5 class and you have given logo of FDS and ILAC. I will accept it subject to the condition you inform. Will be required to ensure that you have followed the right norms. This is my interpretation. Now, as far as NABL is concerned, that is being managed by those people with whom I don't have any control. They may be listening me, giving me respect because I was earlier person, but naturally they will go by their own means. And all said and done, I have created a competition for them. So naturally they will not care for me. That's the point.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot. Okay, so we have one question, and I think Chinmay, you can answer this. How to monitor food safety culture in food business? Are there any tools or AI can be used? Chinmay, are you there?
Okay, I think because it's a practical one, I would suggest Asha or Uttara to answer that. However, for me personally, I remember, is there any tool? Yes, there are tools. There are also scheme-specific guidance for evaluating that. But definitely it is not a checklist-based activity. That is 100% sure, which is being done by many companies that, okay, tick mark and I think it is not a checklist activity. So there were tools which were talking about, that these are the probable lapses that will happen. There could be because of humans. So it was something like you acknowledge somebody in public for good things that you have done, and then you report something in as an anonymous person with what you have seen with that person, and then at the end of a certain period, you analyze where are the lapses and other things. So essentially, what is food safety culture? Any culture is all about, is it a firefighting culture, or is it a compliance culture, or is it a learning culture. So there are various phases of culture. Once we decide that we need to go towards learning culture, so to make it as a learning culture, what is it that we need to do? So some things could be operational, some things could be, strategic thinking, some could be related to behavior part. So there are number of things which an organization can decide, customize to themselves on what they want. Somebody with a high strong automation might have a different indicators than the ones which are having manual operation. And then everybody talking the same language. When the dots are connected, there is a one single information available. That is food safety culture. If you personally ask me, we get to know food safety culture, about food safety culture within 2 to 3 hours of our audit, because we get to know that everybody, what is space, spoken verbally, उससे ज़्यादा unverbal spoken communicate करता है, right? So this is something, culture has to be felt, not really. There is nothing like, I mean, okay, there would be certain situational indicators, there would be some, and these indicators will change according we achieve something, indicators will change, but the culture is all about where everybody feel empowered, they feel part of the organization, and when you get that feeling, that is the food safety culture. But yes, there are tools available, and but don't be dependent on tool. Without tool also, I can give you one example, Krishna. I remember auditing Dilma in Sri Lanka. I'm talking about 2005, 2006. I think one of the best organization that I did audit, in with a very structured approach, with very everybody feeling part of the organization. They had done simple techniques like, just a color change of the cap, and then the competition, or let's say the thrive was for, getting that cap for being a leader, for being a section head, and other thing between the workers. So it's all about how we are developing positive environment in the organization, and anything, which is because nobody, I mean, we personally feel that nobody does anything purposefully. How people are performing under pressure, how people are talking about under this, that is something, that is the culture. That are they allowed to bypass, are they allowed to, अच्छा चलता है अभी इस बार ये कर ले, मेरा plant efficiency बढ़ना चाहिए, so even if you bypass this is fine. So this talks about the culture. There the tool and other thing doesn't really, I mean, they are okay, they are still a tool, but the real reflection is somewhere else.
So it has to be experiential only.
Yeah.
So
Just to add to it, Mara, what I feel, if someone is using mobile phone while driving, okay, if I have to monitor the culture, I will see what are the other activities they are performing. Are they using mobile phone while stepping up and stepping down the stairs? So it means safety, they are just implementing for the sake of documentation. When I say safety, it is one and the same thing, and it should not limit it to your factory. It should go to your home also. So that's what I'm going to say in my first slide. Okay, have you ever asked, you are maintaining pest management in your premises, but have you ever asked your grocery supplier what kind of pest management is there at your end? Okay, so over to you. Just sorry to interrupt.
Uttara and Asha, would you all also like to say something more about the food safety culture?
Yeah, so what Chinmay said, I agree to that. Actually, there are tools, but finally, the food safety culture actually refers to the shared values, beliefs, attitudes, and behavior. Actually, that determines this food safety throughout the organization, culture across the organization.
Yes.
The strong food safety culture actually ensures about the habits, whatever it is there in the organization. So mainly, even if tools are available, actually implementation of that, it is difficult, right? So food safety is basically on the implementation part is on the 5 pillars. Okay, the 5 pillars mainly on the leadership. It should start from leadership, and then communication. Strong communication should be there in the organization. Employee engagement, it is a major pillar, I think, I feel, so that people should be, I mean, speak up culture should be there, continuous improvement, and learning and development. These are, I think, main 5 pillars for the food safety culture implementation for the organizations. Asha, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, I think Uttara well said and articulated. I think the behavioral change is what we need to bring about, and that comes about through rigorous amount of communication with each and every person in the organization. So right from your security, as soon as you enter, as Chinmay nicely put in, the moment you enter into the factory, and how the security behaves and his actions do help us to assess the food safety culture. And the more communication you do, the more transparency, openness which you bring within the organization, and also the freedom to express, give the people, as it's not, no one wants to do anything purposely. It is the freedom given to them to express in a very free way will helps them to build a very strong food safety culture. And as leaders, we have to bring this thought process into the factory, and with continuous training, I'm sure many of the organizations are really being very successful in building food safety culture, which, as Shantanu puts in, take it back to your homes.
Correct. Right.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you.
Really very insightful. Any other questions for our speakers today from the audience?
Hello, this is Lakshmana. Just a small clarification.
Yes.
I was hearing Chinmay madam's speech. She was talking about some tool used to study the climate change impacts related to food safety. I missed out that one. What was the tool so that we could Google and see?
Maybe Chinmay can
I'm
put it in
putting,
the
yeah,
chat
I'm
box.
putting in the chat box. I'm
Yeah.
okay. Let me.
Okay, yeah. So it's in the chat box now.
Yeah, thank you. That's all.
Right.
Thank you.
So I guess we don't have any further questions. So as we come to the close of this insightful World Food Safety 2026 celebration, I would like to really thank each one of you, thought leaders from our food industry, for sharing your valuable knowledge, experience, and perspectives. Today's discussion really has taken on.
Krishna, a good clap, a round of applause for you as well for being a wonderful moderator, and to Rama ma'am for initiating this. So I think we should all give her a clap for organizing this.
Rama ma'am has been the inspiration behind having this
Absolutely,
session.
Yeah,
absolutely. Both
credit
are there.
goes to Krishna and Shantanu, and it's all their efforts. Completely, the food consultants have come forward and to do this, and I
Yeah.
must thank all of you.
And in fact, the best part was all of them agreed to come for this session. That was a very big thing on a Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely.
Sunday afternoon is a very busy day for all of us.
Precious day,
Very
precious time.
busy.
But it's been really a great honor.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Rama ma'am.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
yeah.
joining
Thank you,
in.
Krishna. Thank you,
I
Rama.
just wanted to make just an announcement to all the audience. So we have our next session also on June 9th, which is on World Accreditation Day. So all of you can visit our website, and whoever is free, please feel free to register and participate. June month series is our milestone month actually, where environmental safety, food safety, and accreditation day sessions happen. So requesting you all to participate. Please continue, Krishna. Yeah.
So before I really, conclude the session of from burden to solution, safe food everywhere, thank you for reminding, all of us that food safety should not be viewed merely as a compliance obligation. It is an enabler of public health, consumer confidence, sustainable business growth, international trade, and societal well-being. So thank you so much for this. And, thank you. I would like to really acknowledge Consultants Consortium of Chennai for bringing together such a diverse group of professionals and thought leaders. CCC continues to provide a unique platform for knowledge sharing, professional networking, capacity building, and meaningful dialogue across industries and conformity assessment community. For all of you who are passionate about quality, food safety, sustainability, and conformity assessment, I strongly encourage you to become a part of CCC family. Whether you are an industry professional, regulator, consultant, laboratory expert, or a young professional just beginning your journey, CCC offers an exceptional opportunity to learn, contribute, collaborate, and grow alongside some of the finest minds in the profession. As India continues to strengthen in its quality infrastructure and conformity assessment and ecosystem, forums such as CCC will play an increasingly important role in shaping professional competence, influencing policy discussions, and advancing best practices that benefit businesses, consumers, and society at large. On behalf of the organizing team, thank you all for participating, being in this engaged conversation. Like, it was so engaging, like I really forgot how much time we consumed. I think we overshot a little, but still it was good. And thank you for the amazing commitment each one of you have demonstrated towards food safety. So let us take forward the insights shared today and continue working together to build safer, stronger, and more resilient food systems. Knowledge grows when it is shared, trust grows when it is earned, and food safety succeeds when it becomes everyone's responsibility. We look forward to welcoming you as a part of CCC community. Thank you and have a great evening ahead. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Bye.
much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye bye.